Time now for everybody's favorite guessing game, What's My Line? Brought to you by New Stopette, America's leading spray deodorant. The lotion spray deodorant that's like balm to your skin. Poof! There goes perspiration. Now let's all play What's My Line?
Now let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now, one of the best beloved humorists in America, Mr. Fred Allen.
Thank you very much. Our next panelist is the young lady whose popular syndicated column appears in newspapers from coast to coast, and who only today has started her new feature, The Real Frank Sinatra Story, appearing in all of the Hearst papers, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Thank you. And now another humorous gentleman whose column is one of the pleasantest features of This Week magazine across the nation, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
That series of yours on Frank Sinatra is really wonderful.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce our own version of Frank Sinatra, our fantastically articulate panel moderator, Mr. John Charles Daly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I have first of all a word for the panel. Panel?
Oh, no.
Put on your mask.
You don't have to put on your mask.
Oh, heaven.
It's nice to have you all with us. Once again, of course, we're up to our old tricks. We have some very interesting occupations, all brought here by some nice, very interesting people. We think that they're going to give the panel some trouble. We hope so. We'll have a famous guest challenger a bit later on, but right now let's let these experts of ours meet the first challenger whose line has to be spotted. So would you sign in, please, ma'am? Denise Fisher, is that right? Miss or Mrs.? Miss. It's Miss Fisher. I like enthusiastic people, don't you?
I do.
Well, fine. Well, there are four very enthusiastic people over there who should have an opportunity to see you a bit closer on, as our British cousins say. So would you take a walk over there, please?
Miss Fisher, we didn't hear where you come from.
I come from Waukesha.
Waukesha.
Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Waukesha, natural
Hello,
bred.
Miss Fisher.
That's the A borough.
All right, Miss Fisher, right over here, please, and sit down next to me.
Waukesha, Wisconsin.
And I like my work, too. Do you like your work?
I love it.
I'm very fond of mine. Do you know how we score this program?
Yes, I do.
Well, good. If you know that, there's not much left to do now, but let the people at home and those who have joined us here in the theater tonight know exactly what your line is. I will tell you, panel, that Miss Fisher is salaried, and we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Well, she certainly must be Miss Waukesha to begin with. But this is a foolish question to ask you, but do you work for a profit-making organization?
I do.
Is there any product connected with what you do?
Yes, there is.
Yes, I would say, for clarity's purpose, that there is certainly a product in connection with what Miss Fisher does, although she performs fundamentally a service, too.
Well, grand.
Yes.
Do you work indoors, Miss Fisher?
Yes.
Do you work in a place of business?
Well, I would, we
Yes,
would certainly
yes.
call it a part of that great business community, which is industrial America, wouldn't you say? Yes.
Are men and women helped by what you do?
I hope so, yes. Both.
Do you ever touch them in any way?
Oh, very seldom.
I would not say that it was necessary to the
No.
performance of your function, so I must give you a no,
Tough
Miss
for
Arlene.
them,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Allen.
Well, the product, is the product something that's made in your state, in Wisconsin?
Yes.
Is it a product that is edible?
Yes.
It can be eaten? can be eaten by human beings.
And mice, are you thinking?
Is it the predominant product of your state?
No.
It isn't.
No, it is not the predominant.
I thought it would be cheese. Well, I thought... Not mentioning any names, John. I mean, I just...
No, I didn't say anything. I was just going to let it lie there, Fred.
And vaguely. I would, too, because some rat would come along and notice it. Some rat would come along in the conversation and notice it.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Miss Fisher, is your beauty an asset to you in your work?
Well, I would say yes.
Are you ever photographed in connection with your work?
Sometimes, yes.
Are you photographed with the particular product that we're talking about?
Yes.
Which is not cheese.
No, but not to mislead you. Miss Fisher would be photographed in the natural performance of duty, but also because she is an extremely attractive young lady, and there would be, I think, an expectation of some benefit in the association of Miss Fisher with the product.
Are we talking about amateur photographers or professionals?
Oh, I think we could have both. It's all right.
Do you ever appear with officials of your state, or have you ever appeared with officials of your state in photographs?
No.
That makes it 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Daly, when I said you were articulate in my introduction, I think it was understatement.
Wait till I burst into song. Then I'll ruin you, Bennett.
Miss Fisher, does the work that you do have anything to do with dairying or farming?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, now, this product is edible.
Yeah.
Is it solid?
No.
That makes it 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
Is it liquid?
It is.
I actually become brilliant, John. Is this liquid something that is donated by an animal of some sort?
No,
No, I'm afraid not, Fred.
I mean, milk. You could take it away, but the cows will give it if they're in the mood, I mean.
Sorry, it's not milk. No. 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is this liquid ever alcoholic?
it is.
Is it something you could buy at a bar?
Yes.
Oh. Is it beer?
It is.
And you're connected with a beer?
I am.
Just photographed with it, not drinking.
Well, well, is it a... Oh, just have a feeling I'm going to ask the wrong question. Do you symbolize a particular beer?
You mean as a trademark or something of that kind in photography and so forth?
Not the way you're looking at me, I don't mean it. Well, I'll get the no. Do your services apply to beer in general rather than a specific trademarked beer?
No.
That's 7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Then I know who you are.
Miss Fisher, are you ever found hanging around the brewery?
Well, yes, it's a rough way to put it.
Would you ever be chosen to conduct people around the brewery?
You got it, Bennett. Very good. Is indeed a guide at the Pabst Brewery. And that's, of course, in Milwaukee. And we thought perhaps we'd stick you again because you'll remember some years ago we had a young lady named Miss Audrey Conti who performed that same function and who subsequently got a Hollywood contract and is out in Hollywood now becoming a movie star. Mm-hmm. And it's only a matter of days before Miss Fisher does the same thing.
Oh, I hope you add to that, Mr. Daly, because I'm not interested in the movies. I'm very, very happy where I am. The people at Pabst Blue Ribbon are wonderful.
The real Blue Ribbon girl.
There you are. You don't want to go to Hollywood.
No, I
Well,
don't.
I'll put the contract right back in my pocket. And you were runner-up for Miss Wisconsin, weren't you?
Yes, I was. And I'm in another contest now over WXIX in Milwaukee, which, by the way, is the channel that airs What's My Line.
Lucky WXIX. I'm sure you're going to win, too.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, you gave the panel a rough run for it. We thank you for that.
Miss
Thank
Fisher
you.
leaves a sadder Budweiser.
Oh, no.
That's Pabst Blue Ribbon.
We're really having trouble. Thank you very much, Miss Fisher. It was lovely having you with us. You know, in a way, I'm glad this happened because Bennett said as we were coming down the stairs a moment ago, I haven't been able to make a pun for weeks. Now he's made it.
I had one, too, John.
All right, Fred.
I thought a girl who worked in the brewery should have a bigger head on her than this girl has. I didn't have a chance to tell it.
See what you can do with another challenger, please. Will you come in and sign in, please, sir? Boyd Perigo, is it, sir? Where are you from, Mr. Perigo?
Hermosa, South Dakota.
Hermosa, South Dakota. Well, let's change the pattern a bit. You look at the panel. I'll hold you up. Panel, you look at Mr. Perigo, and then you come with me. We'll save a little time this way. You sit down next to me and tell me, if you will, you know how we score this operation.
Yes, sir.
Well, if you know how we score the operation, let's let the people at home, our friends here in the theater, know exactly what your line is. Mr. Perigo is salaried, and since Fred made the pun, we'll put him to work. Suppose you start.
Well, Bennett made one, too. He can have... Mr. Perry, is it?
Perigo.
Pardon?
Perry go.
Oh, well, Boyd. You don't mind if I call you Boyd.
No.
That means bird in Brooklyn, I think, doesn't it? Boyd, is there a product in...
Yes.
Is there a product associated with
Yes,
what you
here
have
again,
to do?
Mr. Perigo performs a service, but there is certainly a product connected with his work that is vital to the identification factor that is
Could
involved
I
in
ask
this.
you a question, John?
Yes, Mr. Allen.
Do you think Ike will run?
I'll let you know
Is this...
Thursday.
Pardon?
I'll let you know Thursday.
Thursday. Boyd, is this product something that can be used by both sexes?
Yes, it is.
It can. Is this product that with which you're involved, does it have moving parts?
Yes.
Is it something that I could hold in my hands?
No.
I couldn't.
Not Fred. 1 out of 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is this thing ever alive?
Yes.
Is it larger than a mouse?
Yes.
Oh, you could hold that in your hand, couldn't you? Is it larger than a dog?
Yes.
Is it something that would be found on a farm or a ranch?
Sometimes they are, yes.
Well, is it bigger than a cow?
Yes.
Is it in the... Oh, I'm so bad on biology.
It's nobody I know. I can
Is it
tell you
in
that.
Do you do anything with... It is an animal.
Yes, it is an animal.
Do you do anything with this animal out of doors? You yourself?
Yes.
Is it anything that requires strength or agility?
Yes, it is.
Do you come in contact with the animal?
Yes.
Is it in the steer or bull family?
Both.
Both? May I have a
It's a
conference,
big
please?
family, Dorothy.
May I have a conference?
Yes, you may have 30 seconds for a conference.
In South Dakota, there used to be millions of buffalo. Maybe you got something to do with buffalo.
All right.
I don't...
I'm
quite-
game.
So is the
So's
buffalo.
a buffalo. Miss Arlene, I got that together. Go on.
Have you something to do with the buffalo family?
Yes.
Do you have...
Buffalo, New York? Oh, I'm sorry. We're in
Buffalo,
South Dakota.
Do you have a buffalo ranch? Is that what they call it?
No, he does not have a buffalo ranch.
I'm sure
2
that's
down
not
and
what
8
they
to go,
call it
Mr.
if you
Cerf.
have one.
Mr. Perigo, we have not yet established whether or not you work for a profit-making organization, have we?
No.
Well, the government is in charge of most of the surviving buffalo. Do you work in any way for some governmental agency?
So Some governmental agency, yes.
Have you something to do with the conservation of the living buffalo, the ones that remain? Taking care of some herd or seeing that it is not shot by junior buffalo bills or something of the sort?
Yes,
He has something to do with the conservation of herds, yes, don't you think so?
Yes, sir. I
Mhm.
have.
We have to guess what it is he does? Well, I would think maybe he's in charge of the buffalo herds in South Dakota.
No, he isn't. I would say this, then. I'm going to flip the cards because I think Mr. Perigo has a most interesting occupation, and you could get lost having gone this far. You were very close to it. Actually, he's a buffalo hunter, and his activity in the conservation area is to thin the herds out.
Thin them out.
He works actually for the state of South Dakota, whose governor, Joe Foss, we had with us some time ago. A wonderful man, Congressional Medal of Honor winner.
There's a movie coming to town about buffalo. Did you have anything to do with that picture, Mr. Perigo?
Yes, I did.
The last
And I'll
hunt.
tell you a funny thing, Bennett. You know, I went to Nassau this past week for 4 or 5 days with Mrs. Daly, and we saw a picture called The Last Hunt in Nassau in the Bahamas, and that is the picture that's coming here to New York next Wednesday. And Mr. Perigo was the expert marksman who actually took care of the shooting in the herds when the star Robert Taylor and
Stuart Granger
were out in the ranges. You're a dead shot.
Well, most of the time.
He better
Most
be.
of the time. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Perigo. It's an interesting occupation. Nice to have you with us once more. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which my friends on the panel are blindfolded. Blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, Mr.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? Our mystery challenger, we go to a different form of questioning. You ask one question at a time in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you in the world of entertainment or amusement?
Yes.
Sir?
Well, I must make sure. Is that a male voice that I listened to just then?
I think so.
Miss Francis?
Are you by any chance sharing any billing with a buffalo?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Buffalo. Are you in a show that's currently running on Broadway?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you more a flicker type fellow?
A what, Miss Kilgallen?
Flicker type cinema actor.
You in the movie?
Flicker, you've heard of it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mr. Cerf?
Well, if you're associated with that Buffalo picture, we mentioned 2 male stars before. One of them was Robert Taylor, and the other one was Stuart Granger. Are you one of those 2 gentlemen?
Yes.
Miss Francis?
Up to you.
I think it's the first man. I think it's Robert Taylor.
It is. Well, Bob, you know what they say about the best laid plans of mice and men. We thought if Mr. Perigo came in and we just talked about the picture and talked about you, that the panel would say, possible. He wouldn't be here tonight because they already had a man with the picture.
That's what threw me off, John.
Beg your pardon, Mr. Allen?
That's what threw me off.
It did throw
You're
you
not
off?
often thrown
And
off.
I haven't been on a buffalo yet. I've been thrown off just in conversation.
Mr. Taylor, the reason I had to make sure it wasn't a girl was I was convinced Jane Russell was going to be on tonight because I saw her a little while ago, and I thought her denials were rather false.
That's the only thing about her that is.
Yeah, we certainly should. Well, as you probably heard me tell Mr. Perigo, Bob, I saw the picture in Nassau, the middle of this week. And it was a funny thing because we went down the street and we saw your name, and I said, well, gee, golly, I don't remember that picture with Robert Taylor in it. And then we finally woke up to the fact that this was a new picture that was in Nassau before it was in New York City, which it's a good picture, too. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
You're a real mean type, though, I got to tell you that.
I'm a heavy one, huh?
Ooh, you're a real heavy. You're
John,
pushing
could
everybody
I
around.
ask Mr. Taylor a question? I read somewhere, and this would be fascinating if it's true, that you had to go all the way from Dakota to Hollywood and back, a distance of some 3,000 miles, for one single retake. Was there any truth in that story?
Not that I recall, no.
Just some publicity.
We went from South Dakota to Hollywood, period.
And didn't have to come double back for retakes.
Not for retakes, no.
Might have been one of the buffaloes.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, thank you very
Go
much
back to the
for giving us
Westmore.
a part of your time. It was wonderful having you with us in What's My Life. Panel, you're too good tonight, but perhaps we can put you through the ringer in the few minutes that we have left. Let's see what you can do with another challenger. Will you come in and sign in, please, sir? Right there. A.G. Blazer. Is that right, sir? Yes, you beat the panel, if you will, because I'm not going to let you walk down there to save a little time. Will you tell us where you're from?
From France.
You're from France. Would you come with me now, sir, please, and sit right here? And I wonder if you were familiar with the way we score the program.
Very well, sir.
All right. Actually, to review it very quickly, every time you can give the panel a no answer, we'll flip one of these cards, and 10 no's, and you've won the game. All set?
Very well, sir.
All righty. Let's let everybody at home and here in the theater with us know exactly what your line is. All right, panel. Mr. Blazer is salaried. That's all we're going to tell you. And Bennett, Cerf, suppose you begin things.
Mr. Blazer, you look like a very well-fed man, as most French people are. Have you anything to do with food or drink? And your business?
Yes.
You have. Would it be the wine industry by any chance?
You mean, would he be specifically and
Would he
solely...
have anything whatever to do with the wine industry?
Yes, I'd say you had something to do with the wine industry.
Oh, yes, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
But you mean you're not exclusively engaged in the wine industry? You have other duties beside wine?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Are you connected officially with the French government?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you have anything to do with one or some of the great restaurants of France?
No.
Wait a minute, we have a small conference. Oh, yes. Yes, I think actually, to be fair to you, Arlene, we'll change that answer to a yes.
To be fair to me or to be honest with me?
In our case, this is synonymous.
I see. Thank you, John. Well, do you own a famous restaurant?
Do you own a famous
No.
restaurant?
No.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Allen.
Well, are you working in this country at the moment?
No, no, sir.
You don't?
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
John, I have to disqualify myself. I know who the gentleman is. I have been greeted and seated by him several times.
All right, Miss
Many times.
Kilgallen disqualifies herself.
Dorothy
Mr. Cerf.
whispered in my ear what it was. I'll have to
You're
disqualify
disqualified
myself,
pretty
too.
soon. Nobody to answer except me, and I know
Wait a
it.
minute. Let me see again.
Miss Arlene.
Is it Maxim's?
Maxim?
Did you make your day?
That's right. Mr. Glazer, there's a lot of confusion, so we'll flip all the cards anyway. But Mr. Glazer is probably one of the best-known men on the continent. He is the famed head waiter at Maxim's.
That
in Paris.
$50 should get you a glass of water at Maxine.
But flavored, too. Well, Mr. Glazer, it's very nice to have had you with us. We always like to have guests from overseas.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
afraid you look too distinguished and too well-fed, and we didn't give us much trouble as I'd hoped.
Speaks well for the restaurant.
Speaks very well for the restaurant.
Thank you.
John, when Monsieur Albert came in and bowed, he gave the whole thing away.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for being our guest. It was wonderful having you in What's My Life. Anywhere here, sir. Thank you. It's nice to have had you with us. And I can see how he got to be head waiter, too. And now, before we go all buffalo hunting, Fred, you want to go buffalo hunting with me?
I sure do. I'll go
All right.
Rochester hunting with you, too, John.
All right, we'll go down in Nassau and do it in the garden of the Royal Victoria. It's been a lot of fun tonight, and until next week, good night, Miss Arlene Francis.
Good night, John. Good night, Fred.
Good night, Arlene. Good luck with your Frank Sinatra story, Dorothy.
Thank
you know,
you,
Gunther tried to do inside Frank Sinatra, and there wasn't room enough. He gave it up. Good night.
Good night, Bennett.
And as we old buffalo hunters say, goodbye, son.
Goodbye. Oh, no. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
Travel arrangements on What's My Line are made through American Airlines. American Airlines flies our contestants in luxurious comfort aboard DC-7 flagship. This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network.